Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah if you're new here. I'm so excited to be making this video for y'all today. But I want to first start off by saying thank you to everyone that has subscribed so far. It really is so awesome that you guys are enjoying my videos, or they're very helpful to y'all. So I'm really excited that y'all have subscribed. It means a lot to me, so thank you guys so much. And also I love when you guys comment too. I love talking back and forth with y'all and getting to know y'all and just give y'all even more tips that y'all maybe didn't get in the videos or you just want to know more about. So I just want to say thank y'all so much for subscribing and commenting and liking my videos. It really means a lot, and if you haven't subscribed already, I would love if you would subscribe and join the family. That would mean so much to me. And yeah, without further ado, let's just jump into the video. Alright, so if you guys watched my last video, you would know that I went to the Emirates Open/Assessment Day in Dallas, Texas. And last time I left off with y'all, I was on, my status was on interview complete. So since then, my status still hasn't changed. I'm still on interview complete. So I've pretty much moved on from Emirates, even though the door is not completely shut at Emirates. I feel like I have definitely moved on past that, and I'm really happy with what has happened. So to me, if one door closes and another door opens, it's meant to be, and I'm really excited to let y'all know what has happened since then. But yes, I want to update y'all on that and just let you know that everything with Emirates is still the same. But I do want to say that just even though nothing has really happened with Emirates, going there really was super helpful going into my other face-to-face interviews, and I really did learn a lot. I became so much more confident in myself and my abilities. So I am so grateful for the opportunity that I went to Emirates and had that experience that I did. But I did want to update y'all and say everything is still the same with Emirates, but a lot has happened since my last video. Alright, so since that Emirates Open Day/Assessment Day experience that I had, I have gotten other CGOs from regional airlines, and since I'm not going to them now, since I got something with a mainline, I will tell y'all what ones I got. So the first one ever, if you guys watched, I think my first video was it? Yeah. Where I said I was going to Indiana for a regional airline for training. That was with Republic Airlines, and they were based in Indiana. So yeah, like I said a couple videos ago, or my last one, I did turn that one down because I had other opportunities in progress and applications and face-to-face interviews. And then after going to the Emirates Open Day, I did get a CJO with another regional airline, which was Envoy, otherwise known or previously known as American Eagle. And that was a really fun day, a really good experience. It prepared me for this face-to-face interview that I had with this mainline carrier. But yeah, I did decide to turn that airline down as well because of what happened after. But yeah, I really loved my experience at the open day, or the interview with Envoy. I met a lot of really nice people. It was a really good experience, but those were the two CJOs I had with regional airlines. But I did decide to go with something else, which you guys will find out in just a second which one. I did get a CJO with, hold on, let's take a moment. I got a CJO with a mainline. That's how I feel, literally. Oh my god. But yeah, I wanted to update you guys. I did get two CJOs with other regional airlines, but I did decide to move over to something else. So after having my interview with Envoy and receiving the CJO on that day, I did already have another face-to-face with the mainline carrier, which I don't think I'm allowed to say, but I will tell y'all it is the largest airlines in the world, and its base is in Dallas, Texas. So I hope that gives it away to y'all and y'all know what one I'm talking about. But yeah, it's my dream airline, so I was really excited about that. But yeah, let me tell y'all about my timeline for this airline, because I want to get y'all informed so you do know how long the process took for me, as well as some other people. I know we all had similar timelines. So I applied to this airline on July 19th, and I took the assessment that they sent me on that same day, on July 19th. So after completing that assessment, I did get the video interview invite on July 26th, And then I did my video interview on July 29th, which let me tell you, there were a lot of problems with that. The service wasn't working, or the connection wasn't working, or it happened for a lot of people too on my same date on July 29th. So a lot of people had to do the phone interview instead of a video interview, but I really did want to do the video interview because I wanted them to see me and get a feel for my personality a little bit. So I really, I contacted different people to make sure that I was able to do it, because you only have a limited amount of days to complete it as well. So I wanted to make sure that everything would be a-okay. So after completing my video interview, that's when I had to wait about a month to hear anything from the airline. But on August 26th is when I received my invite to the face-to-face, which I was so excited about, because the video interview, I was like, ooh, not sure if I nailed that. But I mean, did enough to get through, and that's all that mattered. So I got the invite on August 26th. Then I went to the face-to-face interview in Dallas, Texas on September 20th. I met a lot of really nice people there, which I'll tell you more about and how to prepare for the face-to-face. But yeah, it was a really fun experience. Definitely like one of my top is up there with Emirates. Like, it was really fun. So I had a really good time there, and then I waited 10 business days to get my email saying that I got a CJO. So I got the email on October 3rd saying that I got the job offer, and I was so excited because this is the one I wanted so bad. Like, it was my dream airline, and the one where I knew that I would be a perfect fit at. It's in the US, so that's cool compared to moving to Dubai, which I bet I would love Dubai if I did Emirates. But I was really happy that I'd be able to stay in the US. But yeah, I was freaking out because too, also I got this on October 3rd, and if I hadn't gotten this email, I was going to start training with Envoy on the 6th or the 7th. I would have to go to training on the 7th. So it was very like, oh, I had to get it on this date, because if I didn't, I would be going to training. And it just would have been all like, oh, I don't know what to do. But it worked out perfect. So I was so excited about that, and literally, like, I know this is the perfect airline for me. Their bases that they offer, and just, they're an airline that I always fly. I think they're like the only ones I fly, and I'm just so happy to get the opportunity to work for this airline. And obviously you guys will know more about it once the time gets closer. Yeah, I am pumped. I'm literally so excited. As you can see, because it's literally the one I wanted. Like, oh my god. But yeah, so that is my timeline. My whole process took about 4 months, from applying to the airline to getting my offer letter and training, since they're hiring for 2020. So all their hiring that they're doing right now is for classes in 2020, and they told me that training would start either the end of February or beginning of March. So that's what, another 4 months? What month are we in? October, November, December, January. So that's about another 4 months until I would start training, and then training is, I think, 6 weeks. So the whole thing is going to be about 10 months, is it, total, until I officially start. So even though training isn't starting like immediately, I'm actually kind of happy I have some time to just relax here, start preparing for training, spend time with my family during Christmas, because if I did work, I definitely would not have Christmas off. So yeah, I think everything just worked out so perfect. But yeah, now let's just jump into some tips that I would give y'all, and a little bit about the face-to-face interview if you guys are going, or you're just curious about the face-to-face, or if you want to apply in the future, anything like that, because it's really, when I was looking at videos, it's really helpful to see how to prepare, and some tips. And some tips that I have are not ones that I've seen on anyone's videos, so I think they'll be really helpful to y'all. But yeah, as you can see, I'm just so excited. Literally, I am just over the moon, and I feel so, like, it's almost a weird feeling, because I've been in like the process of applying to airlines and going to face-to-face interviews for so long, and now that I actually have a CJO with one of them and I'm not going to anymore, it's like crazy. I'm just chilling, straight chilling.
Code 45 and 2 zigzags, baby, that's all we need.
It's great. But yeah, let me tell y'all about some tips that I think are really helpful and what to expect when you're going to the face-to-face interview. Okay, so about the face-to-face interview, so what you do is you go to their center in Dallas, Texas, and I got there about 30 minutes early because I do like to be a little bit early to make sure that there's no hiccups, nothing weird going on. I like to be there, start mingling with people. So if you guys watched my Emirates video, you would know that one of my tips was to automatically start talking to people, being very nice and friendly and complimentary and getting to know them so they open up to you, get to know their names. And that's exactly what I did because we're going to be there all day together, so might as well get to know each other and make sure that you're there to support each other. So that's what I did. I got to know a lot of people, tried remembering names so I'd be able to call people by their names, which is a lot more personal and makes them feel really good. So yeah, the same tip like that was in my Emirates video is just start mingling. Even if you're uncomfortable or you're nervous, just tell them, oh my god, I'm so nervous, and then it makes other people feel less nervous. Just stuff like that. So start mingling with people. Okay, so after waiting for some time, I'd say about an hour, one of the recruiters came and got all of us and led us back to where the interview would be taking place. And I was like, let's go! I was super smiley. You gotta make sure, like the Emirates video, I'm gonna be repeating some, but some are different as well. Be so smiley that your cheeks hurt. Remember right here, smile, smile, smile. I'm gonna put the same pictures because I feel like it reinforced what I said, and they're cute, so smile. Make sure it's a genuine smile, not a scared one, and you're just like, yes, I'm so happy to be here. I mean, I actually was too, so I think it was really genuine as well. So the recruiter led us back to where the interview was going to be held, and then we met 4 other recruiters. So we all stood in a line to shake their hands. So I think we met like the main guy and then another one, and then there were 2 when you walked into the room at a table. When I shook their hands, they said my hands were really soft. And I was like, thank you. But yeah, that was really nice. And then they pointed us to a table. So when you walk into the room, there were, I'd say 4 big tables that held 6 people at each table. So it was 4, 4, 4, 4. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 4. And so even though you're talking to people and you think you're going to be just going to whatever table you like, they point to what table you're going to go at, and then you have to meet people all again. So introduce yourself, because you're going to be doing some group activities. So you want to make sure that you get to know the people at your table, you know their names, get to know where they're from, a little bit like that. So as we were sitting at our tables, they said if you had an updated resume or any references, you could bring it up to them, and then also your license as well. And so even though I knew that I already updated my resume on the application, I wanted to bring a hard copy of my resume so that they could physically see it, and that any recruiter would be able to look at it there and not just ask me questions about it and have me explain it all, but they would be able to see it and get to know me. I also have my picture on my resume, so that I know a lot of people don't do this, or I don't know, but I think it's kind of a good idea to put your picture on your resume because it automatically, it's not just words on a paper, but it's your face, and they know who all this stuff belongs to. So it's a person rather than just words. So I think it's kind of important to put your picture on a resume. It can make a difference. So when it was my time to bring my resume and license up to the 2 recruiters that said my hands are soft at the table, I brought it up to them and I said, hi, how are y'all? Super smiley, outgoing. And then when they grabbed my resume, they're like,
wow, nice paper.
I'm like, thank you. They're like,
it's nice and thick.
I'm like, thank you. Like, oh, like I'm glad they liked the paper in my hands. That made me feel really good. I'm like, yes, thank God. But yeah, after doing that, I walked back to the table, and I knew that there was going to be a group activity that was going to be happening soon because I looked up a lot on Glassdoor and a lot of stuff. But yeah, I just waited, talked to people, and made sure that I was being polite and then just keeping that smile on my face. Also, when you come back to your table, they hand you a paper about like Like say you were sitting next to, if you could sit next to anyone on your way to Brazil, who would it be? So you had time to write down your answer for that question. That's not the exact question, but just an example. So you have time to write that down, and then you just, after you turn it in, you just wait again. So after writing down my answer to that question and waiting and talking to the people at my table, that's when a recruiter came to the front of the room. I think her name was Dee. She was super, super nice and sweet. She kind of led the entire day. So what they did was showed us the schedule of what would be happening that day. So like the group activity, and then more questions, and then a break, and then it said application review, which I didn't know was a like one-on-one. So when I saw this, when I saw the schedule, I thought every single person was going to be following the schedule. I didn't know anyone was getting cut that day. So because I don't know why I thought this, but I just thought if there was a schedule that everybody in the room was going to go to the one-on-one, which, I mean, thank God I thought that way, because I feel like I would have been really, really scared if I knew that people were actually getting cut. But yeah, so after they showed us the schedule, they brought out some other recruiters and said, these are the people that watched your video interview. And we all were like, ugh, because we knew our video interview wasn't good. But I didn't know people actually watched a video interview. I thought it was like computerized, but that was cool. So those were the recruiters that were going to be interviewing us today one-on-one. So after all that happened and they showed us the schedule and we met more recruiters, is when it was time for the group activity. So I thought we were going to be doing group activities in the groups we were already in at our tables, but actually each recruiter came in and would call us by name one by one. That would be our new group, and they took us to a whole nother room, and that's where the group activity would be held. So when they called my name, I got up, we all went to another room. There was about 2 groups in each room, and within each group there was, I would say, 6 people. So that was good. And so we did the group activity with one recruiter, which was not what you see on Glassdoor, by the way. So don't trust what you see on Glassdoor, because that's, I had stuff prepared that I saw on Glassdoor and it wasn't that, and I was like, eee. But what, I can't tell y'all what the group activity was, but what I can tell you is what they're looking for is very similar to what I said in my Emirates video. They're not looking for if you complete the task, or yeah, if the task is completed the way they want, but more how you talk to your team members and stuff like that. So you need to make sure that your voice is being heard, but you're letting other people talk and you're collaborating with them and you're being complimentary and not too aggressive, because our group didn't complete the task whatsoever, but I think we all did a really good job at making our voices heard, but making sure that each person felt like they were doing their part and we were complimentary throughout the entire thing. So after doing the group activity is when we sat down with the same recruiter, and she asked us what she thought the purpose of this activity was. I made sure that I stayed, or tried to stay, very complimentary and encouraging, because I was like, oh, even though it wasn't like exactly what it was supposed to be, I'm glad we made something very unique and that we all let each other speak and we are a team play, like stuff like that. I tried to show that I can keep that positive mindset and encourage people around me and make them smile. So that was important to me, because I don't think we did that well at the group activity, but the whole purpose was to make sure that you were a team player and they saw that. So as you're doing this too, you have your recruiter that is watching you, but there's also recruiters around the room watching you and taking notes. So you have to make sure you're always smiling, because at every corner of the room there's somebody new watching you, so make sure you're on your A game. And then after the group interview is when we took our break. Some people left, some people stayed. I stayed because I didn't want to get up, because lazy. But yeah, and then a new recruiter came in. So the recruiter we had for our group activity left, and we got a new one. And this is when we got asked questions. I think it was about 2 questions to 3 questions each. First, we went around and introduced each other. Oh, here's another tip too. So there's about 6 people at the table, and the recruiter is sitting, so here's the table, recruiter sitting where I am. So a tip is to make sure try to make sure that you are sitting across from the recruiter, because I find that That's where you can make the most eye contact. It's easier for them to look at you rather than turn their head like this to look at other people. It just is the best position. I think also when you're in the middle, you have more time to think about your answers if it is going a certain way. So always try to, or me, I always try to sit in the middle because it gives you time to think and you have the best view of the recruiters. So that's a tip that I haven't seen in any videos, is try to always sit in the middle, because I think it's pretty helpful actually. But yeah, we did brief introductions of ourselves, and then they asked us questions about our work experience, situational questions. And then I think there was 2 questions they asked us, and then they have a set of cards, just like the Emirates open day experience. They have a set of cards placed in the middle of the table, and it has different questions on it. And you guys have to grab a card. You have about a minute to look at your question, and then when you're done, put it face down, and then once it's your turn, or whoever volunteers to go, you pick up your question, read it out loud, and then answer it. When he put the questions down, everyone reached their hand up, and no one wanted to grab the first card, even though he shuffled it. So I grabbed the first card. I was like, hee hee, like, ugh, I didn't want the first card, but I'm glad I got the first card, because mine was a situational question, which I had my answers ready for. There are some questions that were harder, some that I have seen on Glassdoor. So if you guys are curious about some of the questions that they ask you during this group interview, I would definitely look on Glassdoor. That's a tip. Very helpful. I wouldn't base everything off of Glassdoor, but a lot of the questions that they had, I had seen on Glassdoor. So I would definitely look at that, because that will definitely prepare you for this group interview. So after we all completed our answers, is when we took another break, and they gave us a lot of food, which was awesome. They had so many different pastries and green juices and cookies, which the cookies were amazing if you are going. Get the cookies. But yeah, during the group interview too, I said I was from Texas Tech University, or graduated from Texas Tech University, and the recruiter was like, ooh, Reckham, and I was like, yes! But it turns out later he is not a tech fan, but I'll tell you all about that in a second. So after our break, we came back into the original room with our original groups. We discussed people at our table. We like talked about how the group interviews went. But yeah, also during the day they tell you to do very specific things, so make sure you're listening to their instructions. Like during the group interview, they told us to say the number of the question that we had and then read the question, and some people didn't do that. That's not a big deal, I think, but I think when you do it, it does show that you are listening to the instructions and doing what they're telling you to do. Also, in the beginning of the day, when I told you we brought up our resume and license, or passport, they want you to read your expiration date on your passport a certain way. So like little things like that I think are important to do. Make sure you're following their instructions, because if you read it the way that it was printed, they would know that you weren't listening. So that's important too. Just make sure you're really listening to their specific instructions and how they want you to do things, because it will show them that you are listening and you can adapt to the way they want you to do things. But yeah, back to what I was saying, we came back in to the original room in our original group. They started showing us videos about the airline and their commercials, and just, I got a sense it was very family oriented, and just it's very inclusive, and that's something I do love about the airlines as well, is that they really do hire a lot of different people from different backgrounds, and that's something I love, and that's something I look for in a company. So after this is when they called us one by one for the face-to-face one-on-one interviews. So I didn't know that people, when they got their names called, were getting walked out and getting sent home. And if I knew that, I feel like I would have been freaking out. Like, oh my god, I just thought everyone was getting a one-on-one because it was on the schedule. And I told my mom that. I'm like, well, it was on the schedule. And she's like, but I mean, if I knew that everyone was, not everyone, a lot of people were getting walked out, I would have been like stressing hard. But thank God I didn't. So yeah, they kept calling people's name, and each time a recruiter would come in, I would be like, ugh. But then I was like one of the last 10 to get our names called, and people were like, oh, like, why are we not getting called? And then one of the recruiters said that it depends on your flight time, and I'm from Dallas, so I figured that I would be like the last one called because I had no flight. So that made me feel better because I thought like, oh God, they're not calling me, I'm out. I'm done. This is what I'm done. But when they called my name, I was like, hi. And then you bring all your stuff, and she walked me. She was such a nice recruiter. I got to know a lot about her, which was good. She had my resume in her hand, so I think that was really helpful. She already started saying, oh, you're from tech, and I'm like, yeah. And she said her daughter goes to Arkansas, and I'm like, oh, I almost went to Arkansas. And then she said her daughter's friend is on like the pom squad at tech, and I was like, wow, that's really like amazing. I wish I could dance. So the thing is like I got to know a lot about her and her personal life, which I thought was a really good thing because it means that we were connecting more on a personal level. So yeah, during this time, you got to make sure you don't have any awkward silences. So I tried to make sure that I constantly had something to say but wasn't like pushy. Just make sure you don't have any awkward silences, because then it shows that you're not able to like think on your feet and talk to people. So as we were walking, she walked me to this other room that was where you'd be doing the reach test, which was super easy compared to Emirates. With Emirates, I was like, oh my God. And then here I was just like, ding. It was like super short, and you got to keep your heels on, so really, really easy. And then you got to sit in the jump seat, and after you completed both of those things, she walked you to the room where you'd be doing your one-on-one or two-on-one. And she started talking about my resume, how like, oh, I see you play golf, that takes a lot of self-discipline. Like, so she just started talking about my resume already because she had looked at it. So that's why I think bringing your resume there and handing over to them, even if you had it updated on the application already, is super important, because it already like lets her know about you, or lets him or her know about you and your accomplishments and just stuff like that. Just having a hard copy in their hands is really important, I think. So when we walked into the room, there was a recruiter at this table right here, and then there was another table right here with another recruiter. So I didn't know where I was going to be sitting or who was going to be my recruiter, so I shook both of their hands, which I thought was important because it shows that I'm like friendly to a lot of people. But yeah, I sat at this table. So it was a two-on-one interview. And so with a two-on-one, you got to make sure that you're distributing your attention to both people really well, so one person's not getting all your attention. Because I noticed that this recruiter she was literally staring at me like this, like almost in blink in a way, like she did not look away. So I tried to make sure I looked at her a lot as well as her, and just smiled, because she was the original recruiter that was telling me about her daughter at Arkansas was originally the one that was walking me there. So I knew her or so I felt like I knew her personally. So I wanted to also make sure that I could connect with the other recruiter as well. So something I noticed about the two-on-one, even though they did ask some questions that were situational, this really made me feel like they were trying to get to know me more as a person, and who I am, what are my interests, where I come from, and stuff like that. So I think they asked 1 or 2 questions about my work experience, but a lot of it was just to get to know me as a person. And that's something I really did enjoy, is that I felt like I could truly like be myself at this interview and show them who I am and my interests. And I mentioned I was a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Of course I did, I always do. But yeah, after that, she started walking me out. I didn't know also that after your two-on-one that you could be cut there. Like, I didn't know they could say no. I mean, thank God I didn't. Again, I would be stressing super hardcore. But yeah, she walked me out. I ran into the recruiter that did my group interview where he said rec 'em, and I was like, because I was telling her how much like it was really fun, that the activities were really good. It made me feel super comfortable. Then we ran into the recruiter, and I was like, rec 'em, and he's like, go Frogs. So I'm like, oh no, you're not a tech fan? He's like, never. So like, I felt like we were joking back and forth. I thought that was a good thing. But yeah, we started walking, and then I met up with like the main recruiter who walked me out to closer to the entrance of the whole building. So when I left the recruiter, the other recruiter who did my two-on-one, I made sure that I said her name, thanked her so much, gave her another handshake, and just left her with a big smile. So that was how the face-to-face went. I know that was a lot of information that I just threw at y'all, but I thought it was just a really fun experience. They did such a good job at making us feel comfortable and relaxed, and that's something I really did enjoy about this experience at this airline. So some tips that I would give y'all is make sure you look at Glassdoor, but like I said in my video, don't rely solely on what is being said on Glassdoor and just practicing only the questions you see on there. But Glassdoor is very helpful and will give y'all, will help prepare y'all for some of the questions or guide you with some of the questions that will be asked during the face-to-face. I would also suggest joining some Facebook groups that are about the airline that you're going to, because that was really great. I got to connect with people ahead of time, and we just get to update each other on our timelines and our process and what is happening. So I would suggest doing that because it makes you feel a lot more comfortable going into it already knowing people and befriending them on those Facebook groups. So I would suggest doing that. So yeah guys, that was my experience at this face-to-face interview, and I'm so happy that I got the CJO with this airline. Like I said earlier, it is my dream airline and I think it's just the perfect fit for me, so I'm just so excited about it. So like I said, training is in February, so before then I'm going to be doing some vlogs and just how to prepare for training, what I'm going to be packing, and just anything else you guys would like to see. Please let me know in the comments and I will 100% do it for y'all. I'm just so excited. If you guys want a video on Envoy or just different tips, or if you have any questions, just leave it down in the comments below and I will be so happy to answer them for y'all. So yeah, there's a lot more coming to my channel, so again, I would absolutely love if you guys would subscribe to this channel. It really does mean a lot to me, and just like this video if you enjoyed it and it was informational to y'all, and comment if you have any questions, and like I said, I will be more than happy to answer them for y'all. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I hope to see y'all in my next video. Bye!